Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Factorio, and the first thing that really needs to be done today is something with the power system. After spotting a problem in the previous episode, I have a quick look at how things are going, and I noticed that actually at night the accumulators are running down a bit more than I'd like, as well as the solar panels not being enough to keep everything supplied until the sun has actually started setting. So what I decided to do is add in one more square of accumulators, and that should be enough to last us for the rest of the life of the base. So there we go, just putting that in, and this means that we now have a 3x3 square of all these lovely accumulator things in what I believe is, well, what must be the most efficient possible way of putting accumulators together, so that's nice. And then also we should help keep those accumulators supplied by adding in more solar panels, which was the problem that drew me to check the power system in the first place. So we get all those crafted and make our way over to the base. And I don't actually build that much, I just do another 3 of my squares, which are most definitely not the most efficient way to put solar panels together, but screw it, I've got plenty of space. So with that done, it's time to go get on with looking at the rest of the base. So I have a look at oil, at our oil stocks, and they are low, so we need to do something about that. It turns out that my addition in the previous episode was not enough to keep things supplied. And also, it looks like plastic's still not being produced fast enough, and that is really annoying, and I decide to do something about it. So what the thing is, we need to be more productive with our usage of the petroleum gas, unless we want to put in a new refinery, which we don't have room for. So we need productivity modules. The thing is, if we put productivity modules in the one chemical plant that we have, then we will produce, we may be using less petroleum gas, but we won't producing at a high enough rate to keep everything supplied. So the solution that I come up with is to have 2 chemical plants, both with productivity modules, so that they are running significantly faster than one without productivity modules, but of course they are more productive, and we will get more plastic for our petroleum gas. So I set that up, and then it's time to so use splitters to get it evened out nicely, and there's that. So that should make things go evenly on either side of the belt, and that's all nice. So what this should hopefully do is fix all our plastic problems, so that plastic starts backing up on all the advanced circuit factories again, and then everything is absolutely fine. So let's go over to modules, and you can see it's filling up a little bit, so that's nice, and hopefully that will continue. There was a bit of a big burst as it started, because petroleum gas built up while I had the system shut down, and then all got crafted at once, so it might slow down again, but it looks like it's building up quite nicely at the moment, so hopefully that will continue. And then running over to the other places, you can see it's backed up on one of the others, but on this one, which is the other big one, it's not backing up yet, which is annoying, so we'll have to see about how things go there. And it looks like it's sort of stopped backing up on the production for modules, and it doesn't help that we're still low on petroleum gas, and there are still times when the factories are not operating because there isn't enough of a supply. And there's sort of not much we can do about that unless we add in another refinery, which we just sort of can't. I mean, maybe we could put productivity modules into the ones we have. Anyway, I'm looking around the smelting area and checking that everything's going nice there. It looks pretty good. So then I go over to the unloading area for iron, and it's looking brilliant there. It's actually building up in the chests that unload from the rear carriage, and what's happening, as you can see here, is that the rear carriage is not emptying before it leaves. That means that the chests back at the outpost will fill up, meaning that more iron will go into loading the front cargo wagon, which will hopefully mean that that backs up too, and then the entire system is nice and full of iron. So anyway, I need to go sort out the oil problem, and as I mentioned in the previous episode when we built this new system, we are now using all of the oil inside the walls, and that means that if we want to get more oil, we need to go outside of the walls. So off we go, and over to this little splodge of oil deposits here, and so I'm crafting these oil these pump jacks in my inventory, and I kept meaning to automate the production of these, just because it's such a pain to make them yourself, but I just never got round to it. So I'm just gonna have to stand here building the rest of the outpost while I wait for the thing to actually craft. And after putting down all these guns and putting all the ammo in them, it's crafted, and then I just need to put the pipes in to connect it all together, and that's easy enough. Just pick whatever way I want, really, and the sort of efficiency of the design doesn't change very much. So I put in an assembler, and that's because this is going to be a slightly different system than what I've been doing so far. So putting an assembler and some chests and things next to some rails, because what I'm going to do is load the oil into barrels and then take it by train over to the nearest pipeline, and then unbarrel it into the pipeline, or debarrel it, or something like that. Remove them from the barrels. So I need to put the train in place, just deciding which way around it goes, and then I need to work out how far along it should be. And after running it along some tracks a little bit, I work out the position that I want, and there it is. Get it to drive to that position so that I can work out exactly where the cargo wagon will be in relation to everything else, and then it's time to sort out the loop. And it's a bit of a different loop to my normal design because of the weird positioning of the station on it. I wanted it to be right next to the assembler to cut out having conveyor belts and things. So that's the loop that I've got, and it works just like any other loop really, so that's fine. And then I can get these tracks going all the way down so that they can join it with the pipeline, and I can just use the nearest bit of pipe that there is to load the oil in, which is nice, so I don't have to take it all the way back to my base, because I was thinking about that earlier and wondering where I would fit it in, because sort of where I would load oil in is surrounded by the iron and copper unloading areas, so that's no good. But I realised that you just need any bit of pipe that you can connect to, so I just do that. So we have our assembler there, and conveniently it all lines up perfectly because the tracks are placed in a slightly different way. They sort of use because the 2x2 block thing, there are less different positions you can have them in that work, so it can be more difficult to line them up with inserters and chests, but I just happen to get the positioning perfect for it, so that's nice. And then we can go and hop in the train, take it over, and then work out where we need to position the station on this end. This is sort of backwards to how it would normally be. You would normally get the train in place, and then you would work out from there where you need to put the loading and unloading, but because it's oil and sort of the positioning of the assemblers is partially determined by the positioning of the pipes, I ended up doing it backwards, which worked out fine anyway, so that's all good. So I've got all of the rail stuff hooked up, and then once the power is connected up and I've got some effectivity modules in, I just need to make some barrels and put them into the system. And you may have just noticed there while I was doing that some signs got done, and the signs that got done was follow a robot count 20, which means that we're done on that. And as you can see in the corner, we are now researching rocket defense, which means that the end is nigh. The series is almost complete. After all this time, all these episodes, we are researching the final bit of tech, and when we have, we will build it and we will complete the game, which will be interesting. So anyway, going back to what I was doing, because that still has to fill up. I'm finishing off sorting out the production. I put some extra barrels in because it looks like the system can cope with it absolutely fine. And then I set up the actual the journey of the train, and off it goes, and it goes over, and then these barrels get unloaded and put into the oil system to revitalize the supply or whatever, and sort out our slowly increasing shortage. But there's one last thing that I need to set up, and that is the refueling of the train, because of course it's powered by solid fuels such as coal. So I just get a coal mine, hook that up to the power grid, and then that sends coal all the way back to the place where the train comes in. And then once the coal actually arrives, it will be loaded into the train. At the moment it's taking a while to get down the conveyor belt and it misses the train, but I load up some coal that I have in my inventory, because for a very long time now this factory has had coal to burn, very much so, in more ways than one. So anyway, make my way home, do a quick check of the power system, and it's all looking fine there, so I don't need to do anything with it immediately. And it's back over to look at how everything's going in the base, doing the science and everything. And the thing is, now that we are researching rocket defense, what we need to do is start actually producing the equipment we need. I didn't check this until just before I did this episode, and I realized the requirements are very high. For example, we need 50 level 3 speed modules. So what I've just done is put 50 alien artifacts into the assembler that makes those, which has so far never made one of them, and tell it to make 50 of them. And so suddenly it's all hands on deck with the module production, because really I want to have all of this production done by the time our rocket defense research is done. And the thing is, I sort of forgot about this, but rocket defense uses 1,000 of each type of science, whereas recently all of our follower robot count stuff has been using over 2,000. I think the last one was 2,400 or maybe 600 or something like that. So rocket defense is going to be done a lot quicker than the follower robot count is. So I'm sort of panicking because the deadline is a lot shorter than I thought it would be. Anyway, what I just did was I counted how many labs and assemblers I had for alien science, and I used that to work out how many level 3 productivity modules I have, because you need 50 of those. Turns out I have 40 already, so all I need to do is produce 50 of the level 3 productivity modules, so that's all fine. So anyway, what I'm doing now is moving around modules, and I'm emptying modules out of my inventory to keep the rest of the system supplied. I'm just checking the speed at which rocket defense is done. It is actually done in a 60-second cycle rather than 30, so we do have a bit more time than I thought, but still it's not much time. So what I'm doing is well, moving on to the next bit of production, because now the modules are being made, so there's not much I can do with it, or so I think at the moment. So what I need to do is sort out the production of rockets, because they are also required in the production of rocket defense, which sort of makes sense because it's rocket defense. So what I start doing is setting up the production of explosives, which uses sulfur and then something else, I forget. We'll find out in a moment when I set it up. I use a requester chest. It uses coal, which is nice because of course we have plenty of that. So I get logistics robots delivering the coal, and that will keep that going nicely. And so the explosives are now being produced. I just go over and mess with some modules a bit more, and then I run back. It's time to make the actual assembler that makes the rocket, so I do that. Get a requester chest in, and this is requesting circuits and iron. The circuits and iron go in, and then so do the explosives, and out come rockets. So I get that hooked up to the power, and now off it goes. Get the effectivity modules into it, because even though at the moment we need all the modules we can get to keep production going, effectivity modules are not used for the rocket defense, so that's absolutely fine. So the rockets are now being produced, and I can go back to focusing on keeping the production of the modules going as fast as it possibly can. So what I'm looking around at, like, I'm grabbing advanced circuits out of the store and then putting them into the assemblers and things to keep things balanced. I can go and check rocket production. It's going nicely. It's up to 20 already, so that should definitely be done in plenty of time. So what I do is I get a bunch of the level 2 speed modules and start just putting them in everything, all of the equipment involved in the production of these modules, because we need things to be going as fast as physically possible. And then I'm looking around at the production of everything else, seeing how science is going. I believe I took out the alien artifacts, because I'm pretty sure that at this point all of the science all the science packs that we need are on the belts, being and ready to be put into the research of rocket defense. So at this point the science system can shut down and it will be fine, and we can just focus everything on modules. So going back, and the thing is, we've run out of level 2 speed modules now, because I put them in everything, so that's a bit of a pain. And I'm looking around trying to work out how I can get things to go as fast as possible, and looking at the speeds at which things are running. And what I do is I turn the inserters that are feeding module production for well, productivity module production, because I've worked out that we now have enough produced to make all of the science packs. So I disconnect them so that they don't use up the resources, because we want those to go into speed modules. So I just go back and look at science and see how that is. I realize there's a bunch of advanced circuits here that aren't being made use of now so much, so I can just grab those and run over to the module production and make use of them. And I check on rockets again, and that's all fine, so we can just carry on. And I'm just grabbing the advanced circuits, and I'm panicking quite a bit at this point. As you can probably see, the video is up to more than 14 minutes, and as you're probably aware, every episode takes 15 minutes. With quite a bit of precision, because what I do is I record for an hour. I have an alarm that goes off after an hour, and at that point I stop recording, and then I go and watch back and do the post commentary. And the thing is, for this particular one, I wanted to be finished in this episode, and suddenly we're really low on time. So what I just did was I put the the copper wire production on turbo speed with a bunch of speed modules and stuff, and here I am running around with advanced circuits. And the thing is, at this point, I make the decision that we are not stopping now. We are too far into this, we're too close to the end to just cut an episode at the normal time that we do. So I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to get all of this production done in the remainder of the episode, I hope. So we're now into extra time, and I'm just carrying on with keeping things going, moving the advanced circuits around. And the problem is that, like, the processing units aren't being made fast enough, and that's because the all of the advanced circuits are being taken up by speed module production before they get to processing unit production. But we need that to actually make the level 2 and 3 speed modules. So oh, and there it is. Rocket defense has been researched. The end is nigh. Now all we need to do is make the necessary components. And so back to what we were doing after staring at that in reverence for a while, at the completely green science thing with every single bit of research done. Now we need to actually make the necessary equipment. So I decided to go even crazier with this, and I actually convert effectivity module production into more speed module production, making more level 1 and 2 speed modules to go into the production for level 3 modules. So at this point things are really going mental, and I'm sort of ruining my factory in my attempt to get all this working. Like, I'm turning assemblers, turning inserters around to cut things off. I'm turbocharging things and completely ruining my previous rule of having effectivity modules everywhere. And basically I'm tearing this factory apart in order to get this final bit of production done, so that we can finally complete this game, and then we can begin a new series, I suppose. And I'm just shuffling things all around and trying to get the right levels of everything. So I just go grab the rockets, and then I disconnect that system, because we now have the 100 rockets that we need. And I also start to, now that science has shut down, I can take out all of these productivity modules, every last one of them, from all of the different production things, and give us the so now we have the 50 level 3 productivity modules we need, and we have the rockets that we need, we have the advanced circuits that we need. Turns out we don't have the processing units that we need yet. We need 128 of advanced circuits and processing units, which is weird, because they took out all of the weirdly numbered, like the base 2 or base 8 things, or whatever it is that they used before. So what I start doing is actually grabbing processing units off the line as they come out, and it's really hard to talk about all this stuff with them all having such similar names. So I need 128 of each of them, apparently, because they haven't changed the numbers when they updated everything to be base 10, but whatever, that means that I can put more of them into actually producing the materials and things. So I'm just filling the processing unit production with advanced circuits to try and get that done, and hopefully we will manage to get things done in a decent amount of time, so that we can actually build the rocket defense and finish the series. And by the way, what do you want me to do about the ending of the series? Because of course there is one more episode after this one, where I do the final bit, and that will be in real time, rather than all the sped up stuff that I've been doing so far. Is there any particular stuff that you want me to do? Like, for example, I have all of the footage that I've ever recorded of this series at normal speed on an external hard drive. It's like 0.5 terabyte, it's insane. So do you want to see that? Do you want me to upload that? I need a lot of support for that, because it'll be a nightmare to upload. And you know, how do you want me to end the series? What do you want me to do? Do you want me to detonate the coal storage and things like that? Do you want me to blow up everything? Do you want me to let the biters in? Do you want me to kill myself running at biters, or what? How do you want things to go? So, and I'll take your suggestions into account. Anyway, looking around, it looks like I underestimated how much I could get done, and we still have half of the speed modules to make. And so I decide that we're going to have to do another episode on this, partially because I'm running out of hard drive space. So until then, I shall say goodbye, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.